Hello, I'm Damien Humphreys,
I'm Luke Hindmarsh
and we are,
in Deep Crit.
and this morning we are in Deep Crit bringing you a bonus Clerics video on our top 5 favourite spells from levels 1 to 5, which we'll do in detail, one from each level, a couple of honourable mentions thrown in, and then we're just going to give you the names, essentially, of levels 6 to 9. So yeah, we've had a bit of a chat about this, a bit of a research into the spells available to clerics. We're kind of not looking at the cure wounds necessarily, kind of going down the cleric standard fare, as it were, the bread and butter of the cleric. But we're looking more into. I mean,
Yeah.
there are some obvious choices on this list, I think, but we're also looking at. We tried to look a little bit out of the box, didn't we, Luke?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not going to be, some of these are not going to be a surprise to you, but you might say, well, why didn't you just go for the basic healing spell? And this ties back into a philosophy that we've both talked about, where healing has, for us, to a greater or lesser extent, we're not exactly the same on it, pretty close, a particular role to use tactically and when and timing and all these things. And so that makes it less obviously important than some of these spells I think we feel. Doesn't mean this would be the only spell you take, obviously, but this should be on your list, we think.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you want to start off with level 1?
Yeah. So at first level, the spell we have chosen, and there are a couple of options that we could have gone with on here, but we've gone with Bless. So Bless is a first level spell. It is of the enchantment school, casting time of 1 action and a range of 30 feet, using verbal, somatic, and material components, which is a sprinkling of holy water if you're using the material component rules. It's a concentration spell lasting up to 1 minute, and you can bless 3 creatures of your choice within range. And whenever any one of those creatures makes an attack roll or a saving throw before the spell ends, they can roll a d4 and add that to the number rolled on that attack roll or saving throw, and that's whenever, so it can be used multiple times within that minute. Upcasting at a higher level means you can target 1 additional creature for each slot above first level.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really need to say why this is really good, but perhaps we should just very briefly, if you can't quite see, obviously this is very useful in combat. That D4, particularly at lower levels, is going to make a world of difference. But it doesn't just have to be used there, does it? It's going to be usable. So you gave a great example. Go on.
Yeah, this is something I think a lot of people don't necessarily think about with Bless, is the out of combat possibilities. So within a social situation, if somebody's attempting to charm or beguile members of the party, an extra d4 on the saving throws. Climb, if you've got a 100-foot cliff that you have to scale to get to the castle with the baddie in at the top. The targets don't have to stay within the range, so you can spend a minute and let 3 members of the party scale the wall. If they happen to slip whilst climbing, they get that d4 to add to their dexterity saving throw. Going across an icy precipice, any perilous situation where there might be a save involved.
Yeah.
Falling off a 100-foot cliff if you're 80 foot up it. Certainly at low levels, that's a save or die situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you can add to that saving throw, yeah, you're definitely helping the party out.
So Bless, if you don't agree, you know what to do. Come at us. But bless you. Why didn't we choose Bane? We don't need to get into that. I don't think we have an honourable mention at level 1.
We don't,
particularly. So let's move it right along. At level 2, well, why don't we start with the honourable mentions first and keep you in suspense? Don't know. How about that? So,
Can do.
Honourable mentions had to be. Honourable mention is only 1, and that's aid. Yeah. You think honourable mention? Why is that the honourable mention? Because it's cool. Because you get to add 5 hit points, which are not temporary hit points. They increase your hit point maximum by 5 as you go up in higher levels. You can increase for every slot above second level another 5 hit points. It lasts 8 hours. It's got a range of 30 feet. This is a fantastic spell. We're not going to say why we didn't choose it, but what did we choose instead?
We chose, drumroll please, Spiritual Weapon. Casting time of 1 bonus action, second level, spell of the Evocation School, a range of 60 feet, requiring only verbal and somatic components. Lasts for 1 minute, and you create a floating spectral weapon. I mean, I think most of us know what spiritual weapon does. You create a weapon that you can move around the battlefield and make a melee spell attack with that weapon as a bonus action on each of your turns. And on a hit, that target will take force damage equal to 1d8 plus your spellcasting ability modifier. You can also move it up to 20 feet per turn as a bonus action. When you cast the spell using a spell slot of 3rd level or higher, the damage increases by 1d8 for every 2 slots above 2nd level, maxing out we worked out 4d8.
4d8, yeah.
If you're using your 8th level spell slot on a spiritual weapon. And most importantly, duration of 1 minute, not concentration.
Yeah.
So this does not take up your concentration.
I think if it did take concentration, it probably would have fallen and not been our weapon of choice. But it is, because it's, let's face it, spiritual weapon is going to be useful late into your cleric career. That bonus action, additional attack, and being able to still do lots of other things with the rest of your action economy is just great. And it's reliable, pretty reliable damage. So I don't think we need to explain it more than that.
No, not at all.
Do you want to deal with our honourable mentions for 3rd level? There's 2 of them to be confusing.
Yes, so we've gone with 2 honourable mentions at 3rd level. So the first one of those is Mass Healing Word, which, we did say we're not going to deal with the Cure Wounds type spells. We put this in there because it can be an encounter saver.
Yeah.
If you're facing a TPK, multiple members of the party are down, you can whip out a quick Mass Healing Word as a bonus action and pop those people back up on their feet again.
Yeah.
And the other honourable mention we went for was Beacon of Hope. Advantage on wisdom saving throws, advantage on death saving throws can be really crucial in a potential TPK situation, and maximum from all healing, which could cross that threshold we have for whether healing is useful in combat or not.
Yeah.
But we decided not to go with either of those and went with, Luke?
Spirit Guardians. Takes an action. Has a range of 15-foot radius from yourself, so that's a 30-foot diameter circle round you. Components require your holy symbol, verbal and somatic, concentration of up to 10 minutes. And you're calling forth spirits to protect you, which move through this area around you. And they are going to halve an affected creature's speed if they come into if they're in your area, they're on the start of their turn. First time on a turn or starts its turn there, it must make a wisdom saving throw. And depending on whether you're good or neutral or evil, you either cause radiant damage, 3d8's worth, or necrotic damage, 3d8's worth, for the creature to take half as much damage if they succeed on their save. But it's the combination of the duration of up to 10 minutes. Okay, it's concentration, but you're doing a nice, reliable amount of damage. You're halving the creature's speed, so you're getting some battlefield control there. And this is just, I think, a pretty sweet spell, and can be a real encounter changer, even more so than the other 2. This is more reliably so. I think.
And the fact that you can designate any number of creatures to be unaffected, so you can say everyone in the party is not affected, means you can still stay within that frontline kind of area and not worry about collateral damage. The halving of the speed, the damage is really good at this level.
Yeah.
But the halving of the speed as well, and if you've got a particularly slow creature, that creature may not be able to get out of the area.
Yeah.
If you're right up to a creature that's only got 20 feet of movement, and it's affected by the spell, even if it tries to run away, it's not getting out of that. It's got 2 turns before it can get out of your area of effect.
So the tactical possibilities here are, okay, it's going to take some teamwork, maybe, but it gives you so many options. So that's our choice.
Yeah.
Fourth level. We didn't really go for honourable mention at fourth level.
No,
Just
we're kind of
straight
done with
into
our
it.
honourable mentions from fourth level and upwards. But at fourth level, we've gone for my favourite and possibly your favourite. If not, tell us in the comments. Banishment, which is a fourth level spell of the Abjuration School, casting time of one action with a range of 60 feet. The components are verbal, somatic, and material, which, if you're using the material components and not a spell casting focus, is an item distasteful to the target. So there's some there's some wangling room there, I think. It's concentration up to a minute, and you attempt to send one creature you can see within range to another plane of existence. That target must succeed on a charisma saving throw or be banished.
Yeah.
If it's native to the plane that you are on, then it's banished to a harmless demi-plane and incapacitated and remains there until the spell ends, at which point it reappears in the space it left or the nearest unoccupied space. If the spell ends, either your concentration is broken or at the end of a minute. If the target is native to a different plane of existence than you're on, the target is banished with a faint popping noise, returning to its home plane. And as long as you manage to keep your concentration for that minute, it's gone. It will only return if the spell ends before
Prematurely,
the minute is up. It's just gone. I've ended an encounter with an aboleth with this spell that we were not quite high enough level to be properly prepared for, and I cast banishment. It's like it might work. The fact it's a charisma saving throw, not a lot of monsters really have that higher charisma, so it's quite a good saving throw to target. Yeah.
Just great.
Anything else to add?
I mean, so the people looking at this saying, yeah, but why would you use it for a creature that doesn't go, that's native to the planes that's going to come back? You're just delaying having to deal with it. But delaying having to deal with it. You wipe out all the minions of this particularly difficult target. You will make sure you're positioned tactically and maybe leave a little welcoming treat with something, I don't know, some area of effect or persistent effect for it to return into, so it immediately gets hit with. I mean, the possibilities are endless. This, you could, if you do it right, you could end up having whatever it is that you've banished return and maybe take it out in a single round in its return. Because
absolutely, you can set up the battlefield ready for its return. Yeah,
tactically awesome.
It's an encounter-ending spell. It really is.
That leads us to fifth level, where again we've not really looked at our honourable mentions. We're just going to go straight in and hit you with legend lore. What say you? Legend lore, so DM dependent. And of course, it is to an extent. Let's look at what that is. It's a casting time of 10 minutes. Requires, does require an incense worth 250 gold pieces, which is consumed, and 4 ivory strips worth at least 50 gold pieces each, which are not consumed the way I read it. It's instantaneous, but the casting time is 10 minutes, as we say, so you have to plan this properly. Verbal, somatic material. You get to name or describe a person, place, or object, and the spell brings you a brief summary of the significant lore about the thing you named. It could be current tales, forgotten stories, or even secret lore that's not ever been widely known. If what it is you name is not of legendary importance, you gain no information. And of course, the more information you already have, the more precise and detailed the information you receive is. It will be accurate information, although it might be put in figurative language, as they say. So don't expect it to necessarily be super clear. And then there's an example in the book about how you might want to frame that. Why this is good is, well, very quickly. We've just had a spell at 4th level that can be encounter ending. This is a spell that can be, if not campaign ending or derailing, it can certainly allow you to shift the whole focus and scope of a campaign, of an adventure, solve situations or know how to solve situations which otherwise might have seen you floundering. What else can it do, Damien?
I think you've hit the nail on the head there. It's a lot of campaigns, not all of them, but a lot of them tend to be centered around some kind of MacGuffin, whether that's a person or a place or a thing. Yeah. That is the object of that campaign, or maybe not the whole campaign, but this next story arc. and legend lore will allow me as a player to gather pertinent information that will allow me to, yeah, as you say, to not flounder around, wandering around town, kind of trying to gather information or researching at the library, to just go, right, this is the things we know about this thing or this person. Let's plan how we approach from here.
Yeah.
Yeah, just information. Information is important. Knowledge is power, and the more you can know about a situation, a person, an object, the more power you can have to make the right choices.
I think there might be a tendency amongst DMs to sometimes see this as, oh no, it's me having to reveal the inner secrets of my campaign and it's all blown it wide open and now it's not going to be fun. But if you think about this, let's take a literary example. At the Council of Elrond, if in actual fact what they had done was cast legend lore and they realised what they've got to do is to cast the ring into Orodruin, the mountain of Doom, Mount Doom, and actually throw it in where it was created. And it was that does not then destroy the quest; it
No.
makes it. And yeah, so really, this is as useful a tool from a DM's perspective as it is from a player's perspective.
Oh, absolutely. And as a DM, I have to take into account that this spell exists and that it can be used and can be actually useful within the narrative of my campaign to give that next bit of information.
And there may be a time, so it may be, and I've certainly had this with. I don't think it actually was legend lore. It was someone using a wish spell. But anyway, but they used it basically to cast legend lore.
Yeah.
And what happened was I had an adventure planned, which would reveal some information that they needed. They just didn't need to do that adventure and take those risks. And okay, it's not like I didn't recycle that adventure elsewhere, but it actually got them into the meat of the story arc, which I had hoped this was a game where there was definitely a narrative, as opposed to a more open world, which might be how I probably more often run things these days. But it was great, and I think don't ever be afraid as a DM to let this work, but also have a bit of a play with it. And as a player,
have some fun.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you've just done so. We're in Icewind Dale, and it wasn't legend lore, but it was a device that, without giving spoilers, effectively produced the same effect to some extent, and that has given us a whole load of interesting puzzles to untangle, and it's been great fun. And that will be that. Yeah, it gives you signposts for how you can proceed. You don't, of course, ever have to. So I love it. I think it's a great spell. You obviously do too, and that's our recommendation. Should we just do a quick beat through? Yeah. So what's our 6th level choice? We're not going to justify these, but come at us if you disagree.
Coming in at number 6, Pop Pickers, is Hero's Feast. New entry this week.
Hang on, we're supposed to go down. Our top 10. This is like not top of the pops. Top of the spells. So 7th level, we've gone for Firestorm. Yeah. Better than Fireball. Cast at the same level. 8th.
At number 8, we've taken the Holy Aura to keep ourselves just a little bit more holy.
Or something else. No, and then 9th level falls to me, but we will shock you with this choice. We really will shock you, because our choice is mass heal. Yeah. And we're normally a bit down on healing, but where you have 700 hit points to share amongst the creatures in range of the spell, that takes where we talk about saving a TPK. This is the bit like, well, the barbarian's got 200 hit points. Let's just give him his 200 hit points back, her 200 hit points back, and how about that character? They need to be on 100. There they are, bang! It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
So there we are.
Yeah, it is indeed. So there we are. Those are our favourite cleric spells. Our top 5 from levels 1 to 5, and then our picks from later levels as well. Tell us what you think in the comments below. Let us know. Is there a spell you would choose over Bless? Are you a lover of Command, for example? Not looking at anyone in particular.
I wouldn't take Bane, however.
No, or would you take Bane?
Or
tell us
you?
Why. Have you used Bane? And do you use it multiple times? Does it come in useful every time? Tell us in the comments below. Hit like, hit subscribe. All the usual things that you know what to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And we didn't this time. We haven't gone through what we don't like. We haven't gone through the spells we think don't take, like we have done previously with the bard. And if you preferred us doing that, then let us know.
Yeah.
If you'd just like to tell us what rubbish spells to avoid in the comments, that's also cool, and we'll look forward to talking to you about it there. Till then,
Indeed. Cheerio. Bye bye.
banishment. There we go. Bye bye.